Now, how do you explain that?
That's crazy.
How do you explain that? What excuse can you make for
Because
that?
that would suggest that it's much deeper than...
Yes. Oh, hello. I had the good fortune recently to visit Royal Hospital Haslar, which is in Gosport. Built in 1750, if you believe the narrative. Currently a bit of a building site, but it was once a proud part of the British Navy. It's got connections to, well, when you start to get beneath the surface of this story, you realize there's a lot of stuff that isn't really popularized, and some stuff that seems to have been hidden altogether. Press ganging or impressment was very much part of naval life. It sounds like piracy to me, but people would go around and capture sailors and even others, youngsters, and force them into the Navy. So this place, which is credited to this guy and this medic, James Lind, they had to basically keep people in jail. This was a prison, essentially. There's so many stories of people trying to get out, injure themselves so that they go to hospital and then escape. So this hospital looks like a prison. Now, this is the original drawing of the hospital. This is said to be a water tower, but we think a guard tower, a lookout tower. Currently, still very much under construction. And I was granted an incredible opportunity to get beneath the skin of this building. So here we go. So we often talk about, I do anyway, about this being a facade. And here we've got a rare opportunity to look behind the facade. And when you stop and closely examine the brickwork behind the facade, you notice that the size of the bricks aren't right. The bricks are laid facing like not the right way for building a wall across here. And the bricks, I mean, if you look down here really closely, you'll see that the bricks are all higgledy-piggledy, really poorly. This does look a little dirtier on this face than the adjoining. This is interesting. So there's a stairwell, and it'll be very steep and very full of leaves. I know obviously this building hasn't been used for 10 years or something, but boiler room and plant rooms down there. Oops. Well, this would have been the main gate, I suspect. I imagine. And here, to the frontage. When analyzing these buildings, there's sometimes the little details that, are illogical. Like in this case, this convoluted ramp is to allow for 3 steps up to this door. And then the main entrance there has no steps up. And then if you go to the far side again, there's about 3 steps up. So why would anybody create this entire structure but interrupt the floor height part way? It just makes no sense. It's missing a D at the beginning. Down here, got the usual holes in the ground with windows, which obviously would bring very little or no light at all. That'll be a bigger cavity below, I guess, our feet. Yeah, all the way along there you'll notice the breathing holes or light vents. It's interesting how clean those bricks look, hey? This is meant to be 200 years old, but they look in pretty good condition. I mean, it could be that they don't get a lot of weather on this side of the building. You see there, unless maybe that's been refurbished. That's pretty possible, isn't it? Looks like they're scaffolding up here for the same purpose, I would have thought. This is all being converted into accommodation of various sorts. This plague was unveiled by Right Honourable First Lord of the Admiralty, 1953. The bicentenary. So it was 200 years old in 1953, 1753. Let me zoom in on that for you. That's legit. This is a through hole. Try and find our way in. Okay, we're inside the quadrangle, the main quadrangle. That would be the left side of the U. Down there is the frontage, down in that direction. But well, these are, I think, maybe later. Although looking at this, you can see obviously there's a whole underground galley, whole underground section here. We're at the entrance level. We've walked in here, but we're at the entrance level, near enough. I mean, it could be a few feet slope, but this is the same level as that over there on the other side. But as you can see down there, there is definitely building all the way along there. All the way along there. Underneath, all the way along there, and just as there was here, will be some kind of modern walkway connecting these places. But they've had to dig down here, I guess, to excavate something that was here already. There's some big pilings there. Is that modern stuff? I wouldn't have thought it was original. Anyway, that's the main frontage just around there. We're going to see if we can make our way around there. Now this looks like a huge, just like a pour of concrete. It's just a thick, heavy, I know this is all rebarred, but hopefully that's not for us. Let's go. Need a lot of that these days. Cardiac rehab. So we're on ground level. Just let's have a quick look down below, if we can. Oh, now you guys have to wonder why you'd put a window. You know I've walked downstairs, and the distance to the wall on the other side of that window. Oh, I don't want to break it. What can I see? It's almost like, well, this is one of those vents that'll be above. What a mess. Okay. This is, oh, it's a bit dark in here for you. This is what we could see from up there. Obviously. Modern concrete up here. More windows, of course. Modern. Are they original? Could be original.
This is a plant, obviously. Lots of plant. Yeah, I mean that's modern concrete work, or at least from like 1900s. This wall looks original. Original. It's wet. It's so wet. It's underground, of course. They wouldn't have built underground where they couldn't hold the moisture. What's this? Ramp. More windows. This is all poured concrete slab. Makes no sense. Other than they dug this out and then refixed it. That makes sense. But this brick here and this brick here are not the same. Look at how this is decayed here. Did someone dig it out? Look at that. Oh, that's decayed. A bit further. 3-7. Yeah, it's like a prison down here. Look at those windows right up against the wall there. Who built that? How would you get in there? And why would you make this wall so thick? I can barely reach that with my arm. Why would you make that so thick? Ooh, look at this. A rounded arch. Suggestive of something older. Against something. These are new. These are not the same as those. Arches. This is older, Licky. This is older now. Look at that. Archways. All these. All the same. It's like a salt coming off here. Look at that material there. Just decaying, rotting. That's why they can't keep these, maybe. Moisture. We're underground, obviously. This is the archway. Square lintel. So, this is modern. Again. Oh, look at that. Why would you do that? Look, so this is the outside wall. Well, there's through this wall. This is new air brick. Through this wall is the street. But yeah, you got another window. And there's stone above it, concreted in. You see that? Because it's not meant to be here. Why would you have a window, for heaven's sake? It's just inside of a well, inside of a water trap. See that here? It's closed in with the same slab. This is the modern refurb, and by modern, maybe 100 something years ago. So I was thinking we go. I don't know if this door opens. Let's see. Oh, look. Again, the temperature's a little milder here. knocked through, I think. Square again. And just, this looks new. Let's go. How much battery you got?
I put it on the charger before I left, so a little bit.
Good. Yeah, well, that's window action here. What's this? Oh, some sort of tip. Oh, this is one of those big exits upstairs. And again, it doesn't make sense, and it's been rendered in a modern fashion. But look at the thickness of this. Well over a meter span. And also just breaking up original Tartarian. Look at the cuts on this brickwork. That's really fascinating. It's nice work. Again, just breaking down one of this. Yeah, look at this. I don't understand this. Was this built as like... I can't figure this out why they would make it.
Kind of looks similar to the wine vault.
Yeah, the wine vault at the house. Very similar. Wow. We are definitely in the bowels of this. And look, they've closed all of these up permanently. Yeah. Yeah, again, the same kind of thing. This will be the same. Same. It reminds me of Lytton Hall.
Yeah.
As well. Same story. Nothing more to see really. It's very similar. Storage. Abandoned batteries. They don't look that old. What were they powering? Some sort of backup. Moisture coming through. Okay, modern stairs have been put into this space, as you can see. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Now how do you explain that?
That's crazy.
How do you explain that? What excuse can you make for
Because
that?
that would suggest that it's much deeper than...
Yes,
Wow.
that says window, door frame, more likely. And that means there's a floor below us, and I never thought about it. I didn't realize this here.
Yeah, of course, because it's just because it's the one we can see, isn't it?
Oh yeah. It's filled with muck. But it goes down at least 6, 7 feet. Why would you do that? Why would you And this was a doorway at one point. You can see that.
Yeah.
Why would you do that? Is there more of them? This has all been bricked off, so we can't tell. There's a whole section lead. Can you see it?
Looks like it's been kind of
Covered in.
patchworked
Yeah.
back in.
Yep. 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 Yeah, because you've got all this pipe work that goes down. Well, that doesn't, but that's a drain. Is that draining into down here? That's fascinating. That's been bricked back in. You know, what was this? Rototherm.
Wow.
Oh, there's a big space. So modern ceiling on that. Wow, that's really surprised me that there's definitely a floor beneath us, and that was never hidden. I mean, it's never been spoken about. You can go and check the records. I think I might need to go back and check the records for that. Please tell me why you would do that at the basement. Yeah, if people don't believe that these buildings have been subsumed by a deluge of mud, they don't believe it, then this surely has to be cognitive dissonance. It's got broken out so we can actually see, because it was blocked in. That's what these stones are on the floor here.
Yeah.
Bricks. That's some of the best evidence I've ever seen. That, we already know that we're one floor down below the ground, and there's another floor beneath our feet, or at least what purports to be an old doorway. Two layers of brick there, and there's more of them. So what was this? Some other entranceway. Let's go this way. What's this again? Oh, this is some huge old container of water or something.
Header, architecture, something.
The door is open, so this would normally some kind of electric room. So yeah, this was a staircase. So it's really surprised me seeing that. I'd say that was bollocks. Made it worthwhile seeing that, because it's like, please explain that. What is that, to throw coal downstairs? Slaves. So it's suggestive that these walls here might be hiding the same shape, but I can't see it.
What about here? Look how the brick colour changes.
Yeah, I mean, like it was. I think that may just be something to do with the damp.
Yeah.
This has all been rendered up again, so I can't say. Down here has all been rendered too. Yeah, this would have been an inlet fan. See, where's the stairs here? No. So, I don't know if we can get further around this way. that off. Let's see where we are. So, coming back to ground level. What I've found. Just to take a half level up here, just to see this view. Whoa, this is in a shit state. Are you filming? Cool. I just want to get a sense of bearing here from. That was pretty interesting, eh? See, there's more of that. That arched. Look, okay, we're at the main entrance. That's what I thought. This is the main entrance. Hello, birds. This is the main entrance now. I've got to say, I think that this fits with what I saw downstairs. But what I saw downstairs, okay, maybe it's not another floor. Maybe it's that they lost half of the floor, so that when we're in those cavernous spaces, we've lost 4 or 5 feet, I would say, of the floor, and then we're in those narrow roofed kind of caverns. That's what I'm starting to ponder. And that there was one floor beneath this one, and one whole floor as high as this, and these timbers might be as old, and I like the way they've been bent to shape. That's a technique I don't think we can do that well anymore. And there, look at the steel work of that with the studs on it. You see, it's similar to the steelwork I saw down below. Although that all seems to be concrete poured, isn't it? And that's not how we're told they were building back in 1750. This place was built very quickly, actually, like so many of them. But so I'm just got this curiosity. It's interesting, the structure there, where that arch is formed. Almost by laying things sort of laterally like this. The stone is decayed on that. It's very interesting. Why this is built. So I start to wonder whether what you see here isn't original. And then we've covered it up with this planking. Oh, maybe that was there too. But the height of this floor is 15 feet. Whereas the basement downstairs is 7 or 8. So it does beg the question. Although here you go, you see this is a change in level. So that's interesting. This is where the level change occurs. You know what I was saying outside, we go up a 3 or 4 stairs. There it is, already. And this side too, already. So this is excavated lower. This area is lower, excavated out to make full use of this doorway. might have once been just a grand window. And then they've had to excavate it out so that they could use the whole space of it and make it look impressive. I don't know. You know, I'm speculating, of course, and other ideas are welcome, but you know, it's just odd that you would build or just create this recess for this other than it's locked. So a quick peek out the front. We'll go any further. That was pretty intense down there in the dark. So it looks at the chapel. The chapel is directly overhead. I'm going to try and arrange a tour to see that. So yeah, this is it. But again, as you know, they've had to dig right down again because there is a whole lot beneath our feet. Okay. We can either go that way or this way. I don't know that this way is open actually, but this way is open. The doorway is quite oppressive. Again, the stairs don't make sense. And this will be a modern staircase. Oh, we'll need that. Down. We haven't been this side, have we? Because I think we came in that side. I mean, these stairs are all modern, concrete stairs. They're not original, as you can tell. They're not original. They're added after the fact to create the necessary access ways. That's modern bricked in. Covered that. All of this will be well covered up, just because of it being a hospital. No need for conspiracy. Oh, there's an old monitor. Oh, some people know how to do some of that. Some more gear here. So it means some kind of worktop. Let's go. Whoa, hello.
I noticed that too.
That's weird. Maybe someone's playing on it. Yeah, so this is one floor. And then when you look up here, above in the ceiling, that's concrete. See, so my sense is they create floors. They have this building, maybe a shell, or maybe they add to the top of it. But this, I mean, these windows. Okay, that's been created like a door, but they're at the ground level here. And then those windows are sort of below. Okay. But yeah, that's still, you know, where we are now. There should be no reason why this would be concrete. if you're not sure, see where they've drilled through it there. So this is poured concrete, 1750. Why would they be pouring concrete in 1750? I really don't, perhaps I don't know my construction history well enough and someone can put me right. But all the way through there, this floor above us has been added later. Tuck shop. Yeah. Someone's had fun with these. So maybe not bullets. I don't know. No, look, there's a boot print. What's in here? So close off, but again, more concrete up there. More concrete on that ceiling. So it's a forged floor level, in my opinion. It's added later. You can see people have been in here with construction plans. Yeah, and these pillars are, I would say, modern. Let's have a little closer look at those. Yeah, they look pretty modern to me. I don't know if you can tell better than me, but... Oh, hello. We're just having a look around. Yeah? Yeah. We're just interested in buildings, old buildings, yeah. Architecture. So I go around to old buildings and just film them.
That's not good.
No?
No.
Okay, well, we'll find our way out. Oh, bastard. So I'm going to make a suggestion or proposal, having given this facade some consideration. So we got 3 stories here on this side, as you can see. Now, where my fingernail is tracing that dark brick line is the floor level for the basement. Okay, so you got this floor here, and then similar size floors above, and all using the same window boxing, no problem there. But on this main section of the building, you got this, what is it, like a double story. So that this window here, these 3 windows, are the same, pretty much the same width as these 2 floors. And as we saw from inside, this floor here is concrete. It's a modern thrown floor that I believe is part of one of the clues here. I didn't get, we got discovered yesterday, and so I haven't explored further. But this double story here, I think, may have been what is a double story below. This height would have been the original height of the floors. You know, I mean, you look at that size of that window. I mean, what reason could you have for creating such massive windows and such a large height space? It'd be interesting to see whether that has been subdivided on that level. I've got to maybe try and get back in there, but yeah. So having seen the downstairs last night with that extra window box down in the floor of the basement, does make me wonder whether this wasn't originally another full height down, and they've had to, they've created this entryway, and then they've had to then subdivide into 3 floors. Why they lifted this ever so slightly above, I assume, we could theorize all day long, but obviously if there's those windows below, I'm in two minds. Those windows were obviously, it is a confusion, as you can tell. I'm not certain, but those windows below are real, and you see them. Were they pre-existing window holes? It just doesn't add up. And if you're building a hospital, you want to minimize steps and so on. So why create this area here that has a step up? Is it something to do with they couldn't do it a little bit lower because of some other consideration? But we could speculate. However, it does seem to me rather odd that you'd have this sort of half size versus that double size height, windows and floor plan, ceiling height, and so on. It seems a massive over design for a hospital environment. There's no need to have 20-foot ceilings, so it makes no sense. And of course, you'd expect normally the first floor, the ground floor, to be the grandest of the floors, and then everything would be built from that starting point. So there's my thoughts on that. There's a mystery below. Okay, back inside. It seemed like it got divided in half. Not sure if I'm exactly over the same spot, but it should be a large bit. Who did that? X-ray plates. The way these walls are cut. Very nice. But this is modern. This is modern. There's someone in here. Let's get up.
Back into here.
Oh, wow. Wow. That's quite remarkable. Wooden floor or solid floor?
Concrete by the sound of it. There's nothing under this part of it.
Did they? Oh, there's only a little cellar down
There's
below
a
here.
little cellar that's just in underneath there. I don't think they call it a cellar. I think it's got a proper name actually.
Crypt.
Crypt, that's the word. You got it. That's the old the flag.
Oh,
It's the old Knights
Templar
flag.
Why would they have that here? Were they part of...
It's more likely if you read underneath there, there's more likely someone with a... No, I can remember that coming back in from the Falklands.
What, this ship?
Yeah, the Uganda.
Uganda.
Sir John Richardson. So he was obviously a Knight Templar. He's the guy that actually built the hospital.
Really?
That's Sir John Richardson.
Gold medalist, Royal Society, physician, 1838, inspector of hospitals. The hospitalers are an extension of the Knights Templar, because I think the Knights Templar were hounded out of existence.
Yeah.
Right? They became a...
Yeah, by the church.
Yeah, irony.
I think it was more the Catholic Church
Than the Protestant.
Protestant Church.
Protestant. It's all very confusing as to who the good guys are and who the bad guys are in these games.
I mean, I watched the thing on, I think it was on Netflix. I'm trying to think what it was called, and that was about the Knight Templars back in the day.
Right.
And you know, with the Pope and all this and everything that was actually going on, and it's actually docudrama or whatever you want to call it. It's all based on true fact, but made up on
Into a...
actors and things like that. Absolutely amazing program, and you know, the crap that they. I mean, it was on. I'm sure it was on Netflix. It was either Netflix or Prime.
Okay.
On there.
Okay.
I'm trying to think what it was called. And that was all about the Knight Templars.
So this James Lind is the father of nautical medicine, because that's what they call this Lind Street or something, or Lind. His name is
James Lind. He was the first doctor.
I wonder what his connections are. Tercentenary.
Yeah, that's why you've got James Lind and Sir John Richardson. I think Sir John Richardson built it. James Lind was the first senior doctor.
That. Okay. Okay. Is this the building of the hospital? Developed in the foundations laid 1746. Palatial style of the model of Greenwich Palace. Red brick made from local clay, white stone facing, and concrete wasn't around at that time, was it?
No.
They didn't have concrete.
They had lime, didn't they? They used lime as a thing, which is why a lot of subsidence and stuff like that, because the lime biodegrades over the years, like cement in the thing, you know.
Yeah. Many have managed to escape either of the continuous wall, continue keeping patients in the hospital. Many managed to escape. That sounds like a prison.
Well, this was it. That's why when people look around, you know, if you walk down there and you've got everybody calls it a bandstand.
Oh yeah.
But it's not. It's actually a lookout post. It's that's where the sentries would be. And there'd be armed sentries as well to stop people escaping.
Really?
Because a lot of people were shanghaied into the Navy in them days.
Right.
And of course, the easiest way to get it, and obviously when you're on the boat, you can't escape because obviously you're at sea.
Yes.
So obviously the
yes.
easiest way is to inflict an injury
Yes.
on yourself and be brought to here,
Yeah.
and then try and escape from here.
Yes. That's number 14. Wow, I never thought about that, but that's fascinating. So they only built one layer into the ground. I can't see any reference to it being any deeper than one.
Yes, it used to be.
One layer into the
In
ground.
the centre. It used to be.
Where they're putting the car park.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And around the building as well, the actual surrounding buildings that were actually, I believe when they originally put down were three stories under the ground.
No way.
When they originally put down were three stories under the ground. But then obviously the tide table, you know, the tide, as they call it, has got bigger.
Right.
Which completely flooded out
it.
the first layer.
Yeah.
And then the second one underground, that started flooding at high tides and everything, so they sealed all the entrances down into that as well.
Is that right?
Yeah, and now the cellars, because they were talking about putting a swimming pool or a physio pool underground over in F block.
Okay.
But they're erring on it now because of the type, because of
Right.
the water table.
Right. Right. Because they could, like they did with the Twin Towers, they can create like a bathtub and sink a bathtub essentially into the ground to seal everything off.
Yeah, like tanking, they call it.
Tanking.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they didn't have that back in the day.
The cellars, like Debbie's has been tanked.
Is that why they got no water ingress?
That's why you get no ingress in there down there as well.
Yeah.
That's what they call it. Now, if you do want to buy any of these memorabilia, the church service normally finishes just after 12, and there'll be someone here. I mean, some of the things, I've got one of these at home myself actually.
Nice.
But there's the books and things. This is you got all the books and everything, all about
Africa.
all about it and everything.
The Forgotten Man of Africa.
It's all. Obviously, it keeps the Heritage Society ticking over.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, thank you. It's there's some historical. Is there any? Do you know if there's any images of it being built?
No. Not that I've ever seen.
Right. Right.
I think cameras were pretty much few and far between back in those days.
No, I agree that I don't know how
There's a
old.
few pictures when they were showing you when they took the flat roof off and put the pitch roofs on them and stuff like that.
Oh, really?
Back in the late 70s.
Oh, so it originally had a flat roof. Is this the original flat roof, or is this later then? This would be the new roof? No.
Yeah, it looks like
I think that's the new roof on
is that
there.
the crane there?
Yes. Oh, and this is in the 1970s.
Yeah, that's when they were putting the new roof on, I think.
Right. Because one of the things that I find interesting with a lot of the old buildings I go around is that you can't find any drawings. They may not have had photography, but you can't see drawings of them in partial construction.
Yeah, but artists and things like that doing the.
Yeah, because if you're a multi-millionaire and you're having this beautiful palace built for yourself, having a man there every day painting it, it probably isn't going to cost you much relative to what's going on.
Yeah, if you see this door here lines up with the door down there in the centre arcade.
So it does.
And it also lines up, and through the centre you've got there's the old train track. There's a bit of the train track left in the centre arcade down there as well.
Really?
Yeah. If you want, I'll walk you over there.
Okay. Well, a train came through here.
The train used to bring the patients into the. Used to go and put. You can see right the way down through Port Blockhouse.
Yeah.
And there's a thing goes down. It goes down to the main jetty.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll show you when we get to the other side there, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. And it goes right the way through. And what they used to do was the curate would stand on the doorstep here.
Yeah.
And look, and the Queen's barge would pull in down in Blockhouse.
Right.
And he would ring the church bell to say that the Queen had landed. So everybody in here then knew that the Queen was on her way up. Wow. But they used to bring the barges in there and unload the patients, like from World War and all that sort of thing.
Really?
And then they had a little, in them days it was a push-before-you train.
Gotcha.
They used to bring the patients up to the hospital, and as they were brought into the centre arcade, as we call it.
Yeah.
If you were put on the right hand side, tough. If you were put on the left hand side, then you knew you were going to get treated.
Really?
Yeah, so important ones were there that could be saved.
Yeah.
At a later date, maybe they would be brought in and might stand a chance.
Huh.
So under the arcade was basically olden days triage.
Yes.
Basically.
Yes. Right, and under that arcade there, and then they'd either go to one side of the hospital or the other, depending on severity and trying to keep someone alive. Wow. So they had so that was how they did it. They did it with a push me, pull me type train to bring people from the boat. Okay. Wow. And it's interesting because there's a prison, or it used to be a prison, hey, just sort of a part of this estate, really, just further that way. There, right, just along the sea wall is the prison.
You've got the detention centre on the outside,
Yeah.
if that's what you're talking about.
Oh, yeah. But it looks like the same kind of age building as...
Yeah, it was all built around about the same time. I mean, well, it wasn't actually, because that was quite later.
Oh.
I think originally it was... get a bit uptight now.
So there's essentially 3 stories below ground. Yeah, that was 3 stories. Right.
As you can see, this is the entrance there, and
Yeah.
this would be another entrance over there to the cellar. Just going down into the cellar. That would be the first cellar level there.
Mm-hmm.
And there was another one under that when I first started here, which was mainly here in the middle.
Really?
Because there was under here, which was under the old operating theatres, there was a cellar, and then underneath that, and then there was like a drain pit so that they could check. And you could drop a stone down there.
Yeah.
And it would take nearly 10 seconds before it hit the water at the bottom.
Wow. Oh, that's a long way down.
The only bit was tidal, so they could measure what the water was doing underneath.
Yeah. So back in the 1750s, then, are they saying that the tide was, the sea level was a lot lower
A
than?
lot lower here, yeah.
There's a story that in Cromer, in Norfolk, they're proud there of the village that it's in the sea, that you can only see the tops of the roofs at low tide.
Yeah.
And of course, they say that we used to be able to walk to France.
Yeah.
Because the sea level was so much lower.
Down here, on the very neat spring tides, they still do it now. They go and play cricket out in the middle of the Soding.
Really?
There's a mud bank that comes up, and it's only there for about 3/4 of an hour, so you get 15 minutes each side, sort of 10 overs of play.
Yeah. So this is where they would separate the patients. Wow.
So here's the other.
Oh, here's the tracks.
There's the tracks from. You can see it's quite wide.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
It's a shame.
It is a shame, eh? We can't maintain it.
I mean, that used to be glass there that used to go up to HSTU. It used to be I used to call it high-speed sterilising unit. High-speed sterilising unit, but they say that train would come up here. Obviously that wasn't there, because that's a lift shafts as well. And they would either be put over there or put over there. They went that side and they went into the hospital. They went that side and they were normally lined up along there. And
Closer to the morgue.
yeah.
Wow.
And then as you can see, this church.
Yeah.
And there's a covenant in place by all accounts that it should never be blocked.
The view.
Yeah.
Right.
From the church door, and right down the far end of there is it was, or I don't think it is there now, but it's the jetty that the Queen's Barge would come in on. There's another little bit of stupid history.
Was that a regular, fairly common occurrence for the Queen to come down?
No, not the Queen, but
Yeah, and I'll thank you so much for your,
Yeah,
your
no
time.
problem.
I really
Yeah,
appreciate it.
no, that's
Really. This spot reminds me a little bit of that hospital, Haslar Hospital, the way it's formed. This is a round tower, which could have been a star fort, actually. Looking around, could have been a star fort. This is the remains of it, or one of the walls of it. More of it over there. Perhaps. Blocked off. This looks like it's stuck on the side, not part of the original. Okay, let's roll. And downstairs now. Oh my gosh. Now how do you explain that?
That's crazy.
How do you explain that? What excuse can you make for
Because
that?
that would suggest that it's much deeper than.
Yes. That says window, door frame, more likely. And that means there's a floor below us, and I never thought about it. I didn't realize this here.
Yeah, of course, because it's just because it's the one we can see, doesn't it?
Oh yeah. It's filled with muck. But it goes down